right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Thursday showers. The rain chances ramp up for many of us tomorrow. When and where the most rain will fall.
Justice for Jana. A bill requiring federal cleanup in the Hazelwood School District passes one hurdle in Washington. A judge puts a temporary hold on Missouri's new rule on transgender health care.
We are just humans, and we're just needing to access care in the same way that other people in society are.
What this means going forward for the transgender community.
Tonight, a St. Louis County judge put a temporary hold on Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey's emergency order limiting transgender health care in the state. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Ann Allred has the night off. The judge heard arguments in a temporary restraining order hearing this afternoon and plans to issue a decision by Monday. 5 on your side's Laura Barczewski was in the courtroom today and joins us now live. Laura.
Mike, this temporary hold gave transgender people who are scared for their lives a bit of relief, but the fight is far from over. St. Louis County Judge Ellen Roboto heard arguments for a temporary restraining order on Attorney General Andrew Bailey's emergency rule limiting transgender health care in the state. It was set to kick in on Thursday. Bailey's rule says gender-affirming health care is experimental and new trans patients, both minors and adults, would have to undergo 18 months of mental health counseling before they could begin transgender medical treatments of any kind. Lawyers for local health care providers and their transgender patients called the rule inhumane and says these treatments are not experimental. While cameras were not allowed in the courtroom, we were able to talk with people outside.
Gender-affirming health care is evidence-based, fact-based, and scientifically driven care for, a group of individuals that need it.
Josh Devine with the Attorney General's office argued in court today via video call, saying, quote, "This is not a ban at all. You can get all of these things, but you have to go through talk therapy first." Getty Carey Avery is a transgender woman and says therapy is a common part of gender-affirming care.
That's not unprecedented in gender care, but it is something that has not been a priority as of late, because what medical professionals have observed is that people who wait for long periods of time to access their care are going to suffer more negative consequences over time.
The judge decided to put a hold on Bailey's rule for 5 days while reviewing the arguments made. Bailey said in a statement following the ruling, quote, "This order merely stays the implementation of our rule so the court can review the briefing. We will continue fighting for all patients to have access to adequate health care."
Are we going to lose lives from this if transgender people can't access their gender-affirming care?
Yes, we are just humans, and we're just needing to access care in the same way that other people in society are.
The judge says that she will release her decision by May 1st at 5 p.m. on whether to grant or deny this temporary restraining order. Reporting live from Clayton, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
A man is dead after being shot while driving. Police say a 19-year-old was driving in reverse on Chippewa near Nebraska when he was shot. He then crashed into a fire hydrant and then a vacant home and was thrown from the truck. 3 other teens ran from the vehicle but were found and taken to the hospital. Police say guns were found at the scene. If you do have any information about all this, you are asked to call the anonymous tip line, Crime Stoppers, at 866-371-8477. A nurse at St. John Vianney High School in Kirkwood is fired after the school says she had inappropriate contact with a student. Parents received a letter saying the now former employee, who worked as a nurse and as an athletic department assistant at the all-male school, also violated the school's social media policy and privately communicated with students. School officials say she was immediately removed from campus. We are not naming her because she has not been charged. Now to an update on a story we've been reporting. A Washington Park police officer has been charged with assaulting a teen with intellectual disabilities. The St. Clair County State's Attorney charged Justin Gaither with official misconduct and aggravated battery. Gaither was called to a Washington Park home last month. He ended up getting into a physical fight with 19-year-old Larry Shaw. Police say the officer hit Shaw in the face and used a stun gun. The combination of rain and melting winter snow is causing major concerns for flooding along the Mississippi River. The National Weather Service warns the flooding could reach historic levels. Now millions are hoping for the best and preparing for the worst. Disasters and emergency declarations are already in place in parts of Iowa, Illinois, and Minnesota.
People say it's the storm of the century, the year, that we've never seen a blizzard like this, and then Mother Nature says, hold my beer.
Out west, melting snow in the mountains of California causing the same issues. Most of Yosemite Valley is closed until at least the middle of next week. That crest will be working into our area by the end of next week, and Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us now with that Weather First forecast.
Yeah, Mike, and it's very important for us to put this in perspective. While it is going to be historic flooding in the upper parts of the Mississippi River Basin, by the time that water gets down here, it has much less of an impact. Still, we'll be looking at areas north of St. Louis for the river to creep above flood stage. That does include minor flooding at Grafton. And then once you get from Winfield north into the moderate flooding category, levels that we haven't seen since back in 2019. And we are not going back to the levels in 2019. But Clarksville, you see that picture right there? That's on the riverfront parking area where you access the river. That's about the level that we will see with this crest that arrives at the end of next week. Just a little over 6 feet above flood stage. The heaviest rain over the next 10 days? Well, it's not really in the upper Midwest. It's mostly east and south of us. And the areas across Wisconsin and Minnesota that do see the heaviest rain, they're not part of the Mississippi River drainage basin. So the rainfall that we expect over the next 10 days should have very little impact on the forecast river levels as we have them now, not even expecting it to get to flood stage or even near it around the St. Louis area. We'll see you in a few minutes. We'll talk about our forecast for the weekend.
All right, Scott, we'll see you then. Well, today, the Justice for Jana Act passed in the Senate.
For years now, this community has had to deal with the fallout of the federal government's own nuclear program and the waste left over from it dating back to the 1940s, which was then effectively dumped in St. Louis, made its way into the water, into the soil, and now into a stream that runs right by this elementary school.
Senator Josh Hawley introduced the legislation on the Senate floor. Jana Elementary closed months ago over radioactive concerns. The act would order the Army Corps to clean up Jana Elementary, create a fund in order testing for all schools in the Hazelwood district, as well as order the Department of Energy to review all tests. The same bill was introduced in the House, but still needs to pass. And today, Jana Elementary was the focus of a forum at St. Louis University. The groups who tested the Florissant property for radioactive waste were there to discuss their findings. The independent group, called the Boston Chemical Data Corporation, claims there are high levels of radioactive waste in and around Jana. But just yesterday, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers released one of 3 reports claiming Jana Elementary is safe from a radiological standpoint.
It's the evaluation that determines, is there contamination above our remedial goals, yes or no? And the conclusion of the report is there is none.
The scientific data continues to conclusively show that there's radioactive contaminants related to the Manhattan Project.
The Army Corps of Engineers has 2 final reports still under development and should be released within the next few months. Several businesses are damaged by fire overnight in the Del Mar Loop, at least one of them destroyed. Tonight, fire crews are trying to figure out what caused the fire. They say it started in the kitchen of the Three Kings restaurant around 3 a.m. and quickly spread to the apartments above. Luckily, everyone was able to get out safely. The fire also caused damage to the Iron Age Tattoo and Piercing and Sunshine Daydream. St. Charles police make an arrest in a $1 million jewelry heist that happened nearly 800 miles away. Florida police were searching for 4 Romanian nationals wanted in a heist there, and police here were able to trace a cell phone belonging to one of the suspects. The 4 thieves were taken into custody at a St. Charles home. They are said to be part of a Romanian criminal network with more than 1,400 members across the United States. New tonight, remembering a St. Louis area Catholic pastor who worked for decades to see his communities flourish, particularly the Hill. Monsignor Sal Polizzi had died at the age of 92. And tonight, Brent Solomon is speaking with those who loved the pastor.
Well, Mike, you talk about a story that has so many people talking tonight. We're talking about a man who spoke with passion, pride, purpose. That's how people tell me Polizzi lived, and because of that, so many say they're better as a result. You can't go to the Hill without feeling Monsignor Sal Polizzi's impact.
He's what turned this into the community that it is.
When I-44 was in the works to be built here, Polizzi called on the federal government to create an overpass to make sure the Hill didn't become separated.
He was large and in charge.
To this day, when you come to the Hill, you'll notice something pretty iconic. Fire hydrants painted in the colors of the Italian flag. There's a story behind that.
Due to, I guess, some antics and capers done by some of the youth, and when he found out about it, sort of a punishment was to put them to work and do a community project. And that was his idea, to show the Italian pride and let them experience their pride by working for it.
Polizzi once served as associate pastor of St. Ambrose Catholic Church before he was transferred to St. Roch Catholic Church to serve as pastor.
He was very, very influential in trying to mold us, the younger priests, on how to be good priests.
Father Jack Seifert recalls the Monsignor's tell-it-like-it-is personality.
One time we went out for dinner recently, and I asked him, I go, well, Monsignor, do you want me to wear my blacks, my clerics to dinner? Or do you want me just to be dressed in, regular civilian clothes? And he said to me on the phone, Jack, are you a priest? Yes, Monsignor, I'm a priest. Then wear blacks. That always is a good statement to make to the community that we're around, we're available, we're approachable, and we're accessible.
Monsignor Polizzi passed away Monday at the Mother of Good Counsel home. He was 92. Several visitations and funeral mass will happen next week. We've placed that information for you on KSDK.com.
Higher interest rates means higher monthly payments, and car owners are struggling to pay them.
That also is going to be very financially painful for a lot of households. So,
two things you can do to get a better deal on your next car in tonight's Making Ends Meet. A family desperate for answers more than a year after their loved one was shot and killed on a busy highway.
While many of us do see some rain tomorrow, the weekend is looking a bit brighter and trending drier. In 7 minutes, we'll look at when a warmer pattern returns.
Investigators with Missouri State Highway Patrol need your help as they try to solve a deadly shooting along I-170 at Natural Bridge. It happened more than a year ago, and all new and only here tonight, Robert Townsend talks to the victim's daughter about this cold case.
At 80 years old, Tom Aldrich Sr. still had a passion for working in this West End neighborhood.
He was a businessman to the bone. He loved to see his neighbors. He loved his community.
Aldrich ran Cool Air Heating and Cooling Company on Hodemont Avenue for 40 years. His daughter says on September 3rd, 2021, he may have been driving back to his business or to his St. Louis County home when the unthinkable happened.
It's been really hard.
Tom drove south on I-170 with his driver's side window down when a bullet hit him in his neck. Investigators say the wounded driver pulled over to the shoulder near Natural Bridge Road.
My dad sat on the highway for many hours with people passing him and passed away on the scene, unfortunately.
Julie lives in Seattle.
We just want to know what happened to our dad. It's been almost a year and a half and we have no answers.
Aldrich was in his 2017 black Jeep Patriot that day. It had Montana license plates 71544D. Aldrich also owned businesses in Montana. Investigators with Missouri State Highway Patrol say right now they do not know if Aldrich and another driver were involved in a possible altercation on the interstate before Aldrich was killed. Moreover, troopers just don't have any possible leads in the cold case.
It's a mystery.
One she prays will soon be solved. Robert Townsend.
We're calling on our community because we have no other options.
5 on your side.
Investigators are asking drivers who were in that area that day, again, that is September 3rd, 2021, and can remember anything, to call Missouri State Highway Patrol. Developing tonight, 2 U.S. Air Force commanders are temporarily suspended in connection to the unauthorized leak of classified information. The operation commander and detachment commander of the 102nd Intelligence Wing, where the accused leaker served, are suspended pending further investigation into the case. Jack Teixeira was arrested earlier this month at his home after leaking the documents on the messaging app Discord. This case has been called the most serious U.S. security breach since the 2010 WikiLeaks incident. Well, a growing number of Americans are struggling to make their car payments. Vehicle prices and average monthly payments are soaring to all-time highs. In tonight's Making Ends Meet, Michelle Lee shows us what's behind the trend and what you can do to get a better deal.
A 1-2 punch for people looking to buy a car. Prices are soaring and loan rates are the highest they've been in more than 15 years. According to new data from Edmunds.com, the average annual percentage rate on financing a new car jumped from 4.5% a year ago to 7% now. Higher interest rates are to blame.
That also is going to be very financially painful for a lot of households. So the financial pain and suffering that households are going through, that's not going to go away quickly.
Higher interest rates translate to higher monthly car payments. In March, the average monthly payment for financing a new car hit $730, according to Edmunds. It's not much better for financing a used car either. That average monthly payment is now $556. And surprisingly, there's an increasing number of car owners paying even more than that. According to Edmunds data, about 17% of people with new car or truck loans are now spending $1,000 or more each month. So what can you do? 1, work on your credit score to raise your chances of getting a lower interest rate on your car loan. And 2, economists say if you can wait to buy, do it.
It's really important that you watch out for your debt. How much do you owe? Because if you lose your job or you get your hours cut back or your pay cut, then it's going to make it harder to service that debt, pay on that debt.
The rate of American borrowers dubbed severely delinquent, or at least 60 days overdue on their car payments, is now up nearly 18% from just a year ago. If you are struggling to make payments, auto experts say reach out to your lender. Ask about a grace period or loan restructuring. Back to you.
Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell rejoins us now with that weather first forecast that includes some rain, right, Scott?
It does include some rain, and we're going to see that pushing into St. Louis tomorrow afternoon. You kind of got a taste of what's to come as the clouds started rolling in this afternoon, but we stayed dry today in St. Louis. Looking out at Lambert, things are moving along pretty well at this point, with the exception of going farther south. Down in Texas, they've had some pretty big storms this evening. The northern fringes of that trying to push into southwest Missouri right now. We still have temperatures that are in the upper 50s. Clouds continuing to roll in. Our air is also still quite dry around the St. Louis area. That tends to limit what we will see in terms of rainfall, at least through tomorrow morning. 59 right now. Your dew point, though, is 33 degrees. We made it up to 65 today for our high in St. Louis. And yes, on the radar, we do have some rain trying to nudge into Phelps County here, down along Highway 63 towards Edgar Springs, but not sure it's really reaching the ground, or not much of it is, that's for sure, as it battles that dry air that's located around St. Louis. Really think as we head towards tomorrow morning, yes, areas to our south will start to see at least some light showers. And through the course of the day, with the system sliding by to our south, that moisture spreads to the north. None of this rain is expected to be all that heavy as we go into tomorrow afternoon. So scattered showers around. They'll be a little more widespread from about lunchtime until about the time the kids get out of school tomorrow. And then as we head towards the evening rush hour, it becomes a little more scattered in nature. And again, we're only talking about maybe a quarter to a half an inch at most out of these showers. Areas north and west of St. Louis where the rain's much lighter and you don't see as much of it, may not even see more than 1/10 of an inch of rain if you get that. By Friday morning, we still have some clouds around. We're still around 50 degrees, but much of the day on Friday looks to be on the dry side. We will be tracking another system out to our west. That'll be nudging eastbound as well as we go through the day on Friday. But as you see, the showers are tending to break apart some for Friday afternoon into Friday evening. So we don't think there's much of a chance really for rain over the weekend for most of us. Now, that will build well because City SC over at City Park Saturday night Portland's in town. It'll be about 65 degrees at kickoff, but it will be breezy and temperatures will be dropping as that cooler air does rush in later Saturday night into Sunday. We're not ruling out a shower on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, but the odds of it seem to be pretty slim. Chilly to start next week. By the end of the week, the pattern shifts. We get warmer temperatures, maybe even hitting 80 degrees in some spots by next Thursday or Friday.
All right, Scott, thanks. Frank is here with sports.
Mike, Matthew Tkachuk had a moment. Paul Goldschmidt has had 2 moments. And what have the Cardinals done to Jordan Walker? Stick around.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
Even though it's only April 28th, you just can't dig too deep of a hole. These games count. The Pirates beat the Dodgers today, and the Brewers won again today also. So if the Cardinals don't win tonight in San Francisco, they would trail Pittsburgh by 8 games and Milwaukee by 7. Ali Marmol searching for answers, and this guy can solve a lot of issues. Paul Goldschmidt, a solo shot in the first inning for a 1-0 Cardinal lead. In the third, well, he did it again. The MVP is saying, get on my back, another solo shot. However, right now, the Giants lead it 3-2 in the 6th inning. Steven Matz was okay for 4 innings. The Bruins hosted the Panthers in a Game 5, 3-3 game overtime. Boston misplays it. And the pride of Chaminade, Matthew Tkachuk, will get the game winner, his 3rd goal of the series. His dad never had a game winner in overtime in the playoffs. Florida wins the game 4-3. They trail the series 3-2. In Memphis tonight, the Grizzlies and the Lakers in a Game 5. The place was going berserk mainly because of this sinewy 174-pound guard named Ja Morant. He is as athletic as anybody in the league. He went off 31 points. Grizzlies win it 116-99. Lakers lead the series 3-2. So it's been arguably the biggest story in sports for almost 2 months. One of the great quarterbacks of all time, Aaron Rodgers, going to the Big Apple to play for the Jets, who haven't won a Super Bowl in 54 years.
The opportunity to be a part of something special here, it's different. You know, it's similar to Green Bay in that way. When you win in a city like Green Bay, well, I assume for a team like the New York Jets, you go down in history, and there's something special about adding that to your legacy.
Eli Drinkwitz has been in St. Louis for almost 24 straight hours, selling, speaking, and recruiting kids to come and play football at the University of Missouri. He always gives good sound bites, and here's another.
Does a man make the suit, or does a suit make the man? It's the same thing going to these programs. Like, you have an opportunity to make your own mark and write your own legacy. Come be the first Heisman Trophy winner at the University of Missouri. I think that value would be incredible.
This is Bill Bomarito. For the last 30 years, his passion is to help youth coaches. He's been working with the CYC for the last 20 years, and he's just come out with his first book, Beyond the Skills and Drills, The Keys to Successfully Coaching Youth Sports. It's a 125-page guide on how to make it a good experience for kids. So what does Bill want to see more of from youth coaches?
Is recognizing why are they really out there. We talk about coaching, but in fact, what I do in the book is I try to turn that and say, this is more about teaching. If you win, that's fine. That's a cherry on top. But first and foremost, we're here to teach kids about a given sport or a given activity. And that's what we're trying to do. And if we don't do it in such a way that they keep coming back, we're not going to be able to teach them anything else moving forward.
So the Cardinals sent down Jordan Walker today and recalled Taylor Motter. Among the many reasons for the Cardinals' worst start in about 50 years, Jordan Walker is not one of them. Could you argue with 5 outfielders vying for playing time every night, it's a good idea right now to have the 20-year-old Walker playing every day in Memphis? Yes. Is bringing up the career 192 hitting Motter an upgrade to the roster? No. Juan Yepez seems like a better option, but apparently he would just add to the congestion of the outfield, and the Cardinals want a more consistent lineup. I guess so, but I want the best players in St. Louis. I could care less about the Memphis Redbirds roster. And that will do it in sports.
It is puzzling. Frank, thanks very much. The St. Louis skyline will be dimmed for a few weeks while the National Park Service is flipping the switch at the Gateway Arch. Things are soon going to be darker on the riverfront. The Gateway Arch is flipping the switch on its lights for the month of May. Each year, the National Park Service turns the exterior lights off due to the spring bird migration. The exterior lights will be turned back on Thursday, June 1st. Well, get this. Soon you will be able to enjoy a fast food favorite from the comfort of your own home. Wendy's, their famous chili is going to be canned. The idea for the menu item actually came from founder Dave Thomas as a solution to use leftover hamburgers. The chili will be about $5 a can, and we're told it should hit grocery store shelves this summer. And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next, and Jimmy's guests tonight, Michael Strahan and Judy Blume. Don't forget to start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m., and have a great tomorrow.